Let's imagine that you and I have decided that we want to control traffic at router interfaces, and we're going to do so by creating and applying access control lists. Now, in that process, we have two categories or families of access control lists to play with. One is called standard, which is very limited as far as what it can match on regarding IP traffic, and the other is extended, which can match on virtually anything. If you and I sat down with a standard ACL and we said, hey, tell us what you can do. And the standard ACL in the hot seat says, what do you mean tell you what I can do? What do you mean? And we say, well, if you're an access control list or an access list and you have the ability to match on traffic, what are our options? And it says, oh, I get it. You mean if you use me, says the standard access control list, if you use me, what can I look for? What can I match on? And it says, I'm really simple. All I can match on is this. The source IP address, meaning where you're coming from, or a range of IP addresses, where I'm coming from. And that's it. So we ask them a couple of follow-up questions like, you mean if we use a standard access list, we can't call out where the destination is? We cannot call out like a layer 4 protocol like TCP or UDP. And it says, that's right. I don't do any of that stuff. No destination stuff, no layer 4 stuff, just source IP address. And then the standard access list leans in and says, and by the way, if you ever do need to match on destination IP address or layer 4 information like TCP or UDP and so forth, go ahead and use my friend, the extended access control list. So we have that option available in extended access control list, but for a standard ACLs, all we can match on is the source IP address information. And you know what? Sometimes that's all we might need. And so it makes sense to use a standard ACL if all we need to do is match on in this access control list a source IP address. So let's put together a plan. So here in our Arizona topology, we have VLAN 10, and that IP address space is 10.16.0.0 with a 24-bit mask. And this PC is at .10. And the three major phases for implementing access control lists for packet filtering have not changed. The first step is to make a plan. What do we want to permit or deny? Secondly is we create the list, which we can do right up here. And then the third is to apply it to a router interface. And when we apply it, we'll tell the router that it's going to be inbound, meaning we want to have it check the access control list every time a packet comes in to that router on the gig00 interface. So for our plan, let's imagine that this PC is going out to the internet and we want to stop it. We want to stop this PC right here at gig00 and have the access control list say, oh, your source address is 10.16.0.10. I'm killing your traffic right here. So for the source address, we could put 10.16.0.10, that exact address, and we could have a deny. Now, my question is, before we apply this to the interface, I want you to notice this right here at the very bottom, this implicit deny. If we create an access control list with one line in it that says deny, and then we apply it to an interface, everything's going to be denied. Because if this line doesn't match, the implicit deny is going to catch everything else, and traffic is going to come to a grinding halt. So the second thing we had to do is we had to say any regarding we don't care who it is, what source address you're using, and we would like to go ahead and permit it. And that way we can block this individual PC at this interface on the router and then permit everything else. So this is our planning stages, and as far as creating this access control list, let me share with you the syntax right here on how to do it, and then in the next video and hands-on lab, we'll actually apply this plan on our one and we'll verify it works. So here's the syntax for creating this list. We'd go to global configuration mode, and in configuration mode we'd type in the command access -list space, then we give it a number. For standard access control lists, we have some options. We can use the numbers of 1 through 99. We also have the options of using names. For this demonstration, let's use access control list number 1. So we'd put a 1 right here, space, and then we specify whether we want to permit or deny. So our first entry is going to be deny. And because we want to deny that specific host of 10.16.0.10, we can use the keyword of host, space, and then the host IP address of 10.16.0.10. So that's our first entry. And then we'd create our second entry for the permit any. And that would go like this: access list 1 permit space any. And that's the syntax for creating the 2-line or 2-entry access control list on the Cisco router. So that's the step 2, creating the list, and then we want to apply it to the interface. So on router 1, we'd go into interface configuration mode for gig 00, and in interface configuration mode, we would use the command IP space access group space the number of our access list. So this access list that has the 2 entries we just created is access list number 1. So we specify access list number 1 space, and then we need to tell the security guard on that interface, should I use this list as packets are trying to come into me up here from the core switch, or should I use this access list to control traffic as it's going out from me, out to that network? And in our case, we want to go ahead and use the command in to tell the router that we want to apply this access control list inbound on this interface. And one way that's helped me remember over the years, remembering its access-group to apply an access list, is think of a list as a group of match statements with permits or denies that we're applying as a group to that interface. So to apply it, it's IP access-group, the number of the access list, and then the direction you want the security guard on that interface to pay attention to. So in this video, we've taken a look at what a standard access control list can match on, and that is very simple. Only the source IP address, and that's it. We also looked at the syntax for creating a list. We also looked at the commands for applying it to an interface, whether we're applying it inbound or outbound with the keywords in or out. In the next video and lab, we'll take this plan, we'll apply it to router 1, and then we'll verify together that it works. I'll see you in that next video in just a moment. Meanwhile, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.